Starting with partial products, I'm going to do 694 times 24, listing the longer number first. If you're wondering why I keep saying longer number, it's because later you'll have decimals in there. So it doesn't have to do with which one's bigger, it has to do with which one has more digits. So I'm going to start by multiplying 4 times 4, which is going to give me 16. Next, I'm going to do 4 times 90, which is 360. Next, I'm going to do 4 times 600, which is 2400. Now I'm going to do 2 times 4, but the 2 is in the tens place, so it's really 20 times 4, which is 80. Then 20 times 90, so 2 times 9 is 18, so that means 20 times 90 is 1800. And then finally 20 times 600. So 2 times 6 is 12, but that means that I've got the 2 extra zeros on 600 and the 1 extra zero on 20. So that would be with 3 zeros. So 600 times 2 would be 1200. So 600 times 20 would be 12,000. And then I'm going to add all this up. 6 and a bunch of zeros is 6. This next column, I'm getting 1 plus 6 is 7 plus 8 is 15. The next column, I'm getting 3 plus 4 is 7 plus 8 is 15 plus the one that I regrouped is 16. And then 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus the regrouped one would be 6. And then finally just the 1. So this is 16,656, and I'll show that horizontally as well. This would be 600 plus 90 plus 4 times 20 plus 4. So if I multiply everything in the first parentheses times every term in the second parentheses, I could start with 600 times 20. Which is the 12,000. And then I'll move on to the 600 times 4. Is the 2,400. And then sticking with 600, I finished that. So 600 times everything in the second number. So now I'm going to move on to the 90. So I'll start with 90 times 20, which is 1,800. And then let me do the 90 times 4. So that would take care of 90 times everything. Is 360. And then finally, I just need to do 4 times everything in that second box. So 4 times 20 is 80. And then 4 times 4. Getting the same numbers as I did with the vertical method. 16,656. I'm going to go ahead and show the lattice method next. I'm sorry, I need to go ahead and do my area model here. I'm going to squeeze it in over here. So I'm going to go ahead and do 694 times 24. This time, since I made the left side bigger, I'm going to make that my larger number. So this is going to be my 600 plus my 90 plus my 4. And that's going to subdivide this rectangle going this way. Doesn't have to be perfectly to scale. And then the 24 is going to be the other side, so I'm going to split that up into the 20 plus 4. And then I'm going to do each section of this. So this largest rectangle That's going to be my 600 times 20. I'm just going to stick with shading and color coding this time, although typically you would go ahead and just write those in there. I've just drawn this a little small, so rather than fit that in, I'm going to go ahead and color code. So then this one would be the 600 times 4. And then 90 times 20 would be this one. 90 times 4 is this one. This one would be 4 times 20, and then that smallest one is going to be 4 times 4. And then let's go ahead and do the lattice method. So my longer number needs to go across the top. So I know that it's going to need to be 3 squares long, but then since it's 2 digits for the second number, that means it's going to need to be 2 squares wide. So something like this. And I'm going to go ahead and write those numbers along the top and the right sides here. And then draw my diagonals in. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply. 6 times 2 is 12. 9 times 2 is 18. 4 times 2 is 8, which I'll put in as 0, 8. 6 times 4 is 24. 9 times 4 is 36. 4 times 4 is 16. And now I'm going to add along each diagonal. This one is just 6. 8 plus 1 plus 6 is going to be 15. So I'm going to write my 5 and regroup my 1 into the next diagonal. So 8 plus 3 plus 4 plus 0 and the regrouped 1. So that's going to end up being, I believe, 16. And then regroup a 1 into the next diagonal. So then 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus the regrouped 1 would be 6. And then that last diagonal just has a 1. So 16,656. And finally do my standard algorithm. So I'm going to write the longer number first. And I'm going to go through this process. So 4 times 4 is 16. I'm going to write the 6 and regroup the 1. 4 times 9 is 36 plus the regrouped 1 is 37. So I'm going to write the 7 and regroup the 3. 4 times 6 is 24 plus 3 is 27. So that's what I'm getting when I multiply this 4 times everything. Now I'm going to go ahead and move on to the 2, which means I need a placeholder 0, and I need to either cross out or erase my previous regrouping. So then 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 9 is 18, so I'm going to write an 8 and regroup a 1. 2 times 6 is 12, plus the regrouped 1 is 13. And then add these together. 6 plus 0 is 6, 7 plus 8 is 15, regroup the 1. 7 plus 8 is 15, plus the regrouped 1 is 16. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus the regrouped 1 is 6. And then just a 1 here, and I get the same answer.